Howdy folks, I'm Righteous Rose White Dusky Wing, radically revolting against resentful rural lights.
I'm Amber.
And here are more resentful rural lights for us to revolt against because they're revolting. So let's get started. Much like the Reddit stories we're about to read. And folks, there's a very special announcement that we need to make sure you see. So make sure to stick around until tea time, or skip through tea time. Your choice. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Licking Off the Icing on My Cupcake? I'm a talented baker, so my family and friends often ask me to make cakes and cupcakes for parties. I'm always happy to do so, but whenever I make cupcakes, I like to sample the fruits of my labor. Now, I don't actually like cake, but I just like the icing. But for some reason, icing tastes best when it's on a cupcake. So I like to take one of the cupcakes and lick the icing off. It's a small, harmless bit of joy. Recently, I was baking some cupcakes for my nephew's birthday. My sister was in the kitchen with me chatting while I was icing the cupcakes. I licked off the icing on one of the cupcakes and started frosting it again. My sister got a weird look on her face and asked me what I was doing. I explained that I didn't want to throw away a perfectly good cupcake, but I wasn't going to eat it. So I was frosting it for someone else so that they could have it. She asked me if I've done this before, and I told her that of course I have. She told me that I was disgusting, tore the cupcake out of my hand, and hurled it into the trash. She then stormed out of the kitchen. Now she's been telling everyone about me licking the cupcake, and I'm getting a lot of really irate messages from friends and family. I don't understand why. It's not like I am sick and I have good oral hygiene. No one has ever gotten sick from my cupcakes as far as I know. So what's the issue? Am I really in the wrong here for not wanting to throw away a perfectly good cupcake? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, OP. Wow, you are majorly in the wrong. Have you heard, I know OP's like, oh, I'm not sick, but first of all, you can be sick without even knowing with it. You can be contagious beforehand. But secondly, no one has consented to eating after you. That's just gross.
No, I don't see anything wrong with this. I mean, I think that would be wasted food. I mean, it's for family, right? So it's not really like the friends and family, it's not really like it's all that gross or anything like that.
Yeah, I beg to differ.
So, I mean, it's just icing. It's just cupcakes. Germs are germs. People get germs, and that's the way it goes.
I'm not eating any food that Brian makes again.
But yeah, I mean, OP, maybe now that people are, showing their displeasure here, it would probably be a good idea to go ahead and not lick off the cupcake frosting and then eat the cupcakes. But I don't know. Let me know what you folks think, though. Do you lick off the frosting of cupcakes and then refrost them?
No, hopefully not.
Anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, 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 tell us the judgment that OP's earned. You're the jerk with zero self-awareness.
I mean, that's perfect.
I mean, the wheel doesn't know what it's talking about.
Good wheel.
Doesn't
Good
know.
wheel.
Clearly needs recalibration.
Good wheel.
And why did you make me read that? Says, yes, you're the jerk. What is wrong with you? And OP replies, can you elaborate? Why is it wrong? And why did you make me read that? Says, if you can't figure that out, then there's no help for you. And I eat snowflakes for breakfast, 66 says, not the jerk, people are too sensitive. And OP replies, right, my family is acting like I murdered grandpa or something like that. Always the Spy says, did you give them one of your nasty spit cupcakes? Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for pranking my ex in an airport VIP lounge on a swingers trip? I have been an active part of my local swingers scene ever since I moved here a decade ago. I started seeing Trish about 5 years ago and was upfront with her about the swinging and how it's an important part of my life. She said that she would be open to try it. When I introduced her to the swinger scene, she got really upset and accused me of cheating, so we broke things off. So one thing to know about Trish is that she is terrified of whole cucumbers. She's not a big fan of pickles, but at least she can be around them because, quote unquote, they're not alive. Whatever that means. Same thing for sliced cucumbers. But put a whole cucumber down behind her and she'll freak out like the cats in those videos. Not gonna lie, it's kind of hilarious. Anyways, I hadn't seen Trish in years until one time a few months ago when she showed up at a swingers party with her new boyfriend Ben. Ben has been a part of the swinger scene for about as long as I have, so I was surprised to see her with him. The whole thing was so uncomfortable. I spent the night dodging her and didn't have any fun. Our group takes an annual vacation, those of us who can afford it during the winter time, to a warmer place. A week of drinks and debauchery, and it's always a good time. But then I found out that Ben was planning on bringing Trish. I tried talking to the guy organizing the trip about it and making it so that only members who had been there a certain amount of time could go, but he said that that wasn't fair and that I would just have to put up with Trish. So I decided that if I was going to have to deal with her, I might as well get a little fun out of it. The day of the trip, I showed up at the airport early and set up a cucumber in the VIP lounge. It wasn't just a plain cucumber this time around, though. I added those little googly eyes and gave it a hat and drew on a scowl. Obviously, a goofy, not scary thing. And I also gave it a note saying, "Watch out, Trish." Well, when Trish got to the lounge, she had a complete breakdown. I couldn't help but laugh because here was a grown woman screaming over a cucumber with googly eyes. Surprisingly, instead of finding it funny, everyone got mad at me. Trish and Ben ended up backing out of the flight, and everyone was cold to me for the whole vacation. When we got back, the leader of the group told me that it was best if I didn't come back for a little while, all because of some silly joke. I'm not really the jerk, am I? And folks, there's a comment here that I think we should read real quick. And the real Trish here to dish says, "Hi everyone, Trish here. It seems that my ex has left out some key information. First of all, when he brought the idea of swinging, I assumed it was something that we would both do. However, when we went to the first party, he told me that I couldn't do anything with anyone else because that would be low class, and he doesn't date low class women. He just expected me to watch him bang other women and be grateful for the experience. There had been other red flags, but that was the moment that I noped out of the relationship. As for the cucumber thing, I know it's weird, but I had a traumatic experience with my brother pranking me as a child. I've worked on this in therapy, and I'm still working on it. And I can be around cucumbers in supermarkets and whatnot. I just can't handle them popping out of nowhere. I was actually making really good progress before I decided to share my trauma with Jerkface, who proceeded to prank me and set me back in my progress significantly. The day that we saw each other at the party was the first time in 5 years. He got upset and started sulking because, unlike him, Ben is an equal opportunity partner. Jerkface tried to tell me that this wasn't the life for me and that I wouldn't listen to him and leave. Anytime we entered the same room, he made a big scene and huffed out and stormed out. Onto the airport. Honestly, I don't even think that it was just the cucumber I reacted to. Reading the note, seeing Jerkface grinning in the background, he made me feel so deeply unsafe. I realized then that if he still had a grudge after all this time, was still willing to throw my trauma at me, I don't know what else I could expect from him. How can I even spend a week with someone who clearly had such a deep-seated loathing for me? Thank you all for the commenters who already dragged him, and to those who guessed that you weren't getting the full story, you were right. I hope this cleared things up. Oh, and Jerkface, thanks for introducing me to the swinger scene. Turns out that the low-class life is a life for me. And someone else's problem, 2323 says, I knew there had to be more to the story. What a jerk. I'm glad you got rid of Jerkface, and I hope Ben is treating you much better. And the real Trish here to dish says, so much better. Ben has been my rock throughout all of this. All right, folks, now that we have a little more context, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I was thinking Opie was the jerk from just the first part alone, because it's never cool to use someone's trauma against them. But, like, now with all that additional context, it's like, oh my goodness, OP, are you the jerk? Maybe time for some therapy.
I mean, what's wrong with cucumbers and pranking people with cucumbers? I mean, it's just like those cat videos, like he said. Yeah, I mean, some good old-fashioned fun, putting some cucumbers behind people and letting them, jump like a cat out of fear.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's cool to do to anyone. Like, it was interesting seeing the cat videos, but like if the cats are genuinely terrified, you shouldn't prank them either.
Oh, I would do it anytime I could possibly do it. I mean, why not leverage someone's trauma against them for laughs?
Yeah, that is not cool at all.
I mean, what better things can you do with your time than to leverage trauma against people?
I mean, seriously, dude, get a hobby.
I think scaring people out of their mind is a hobby.
No.
Look at Stephen King. What's he doing?
Okay, but there's a difference then that people voluntarily read his books, whereas Trish did not choose to have this cucumber prank played on
Oh,
her?
I didn't voluntarily read any of Stephen King's books, and I'm traumatized by them.
What? Just because of like the media references, or?
No, I don't know. I'm just kidding. But what do you think of Trisha's being a low-class woman?
I mean, I don't think it's low class. I think different people have their different, ideas of what they want in a relationship, and if it works for them, it works.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Taking My Cat to a Strip Club? I'm a 26-year-old female and I have a group of friends that I've known since elementary school. The 5 of us try to get together at least once a month. Recently, a strip club with male dancers opened up in our area. My friends were super excited to visit, but watching strangers get naked isn't really my cup of tea. I tried to bow out, but they kept insisting that it wouldn't be the same without me, and I eventually caved. I also have a cat, Peter, a 2-year-old male. He is the chillest little dude, and I bring him basically everywhere I go. I decided spur of the moment to bring him to the strip club with me. When I showed up at the strip club, 2 of my friends were excited to see Peter and thought that it was hilarious that I brought him. The other 2 were a little less impressed. Lisa in particular was upset with me and kept saying that I was going to make us look bad and get us kicked out. When we went inside, the guy checking our IDs is someone that we went to school with. He's met Peter before and adores him, so he was happy to let Peter through for the price of a few chin scratches. We got settled and Peter just chilled on my lap for the whole performance. After the dancers did their thing, they started mingling with the audience. One of the guys had kept looking my way throughout, and he made a beeline for me. Lisa tried to get his attention, but he ignored her and was just like, "You have a cat?" So I introduced the guy, Caden, to Peter, and he immediately started cooing over Peter. Turns out that he's a big cat person, but his apartment won't let him have one, so we started talking, and it turned out that we have a ton in common. Lisa kept trying to interject, and he responded politely but gave her short answers and then turned back to me. Eventually, she stormed off and came back with the club manager, who told me that I couldn't have a cat in here. So I just said, "Oh, okay," and then I got up and I left. Lisa was looking smug at this point, and my 2 friends who were happy to see Peter got up as well. Lisa tried to get them to stay, but they walked out with me, and so did Caden. When we got outside, Caden said that he would like to get to know me better and asked for my number, so I gave it to him. The 2 friends that I left with and I decided to have a girls' night at my place to finish the night. I didn't really pay attention to my phone, but when I woke up in the morning, it was full of angry texts and voicemails from Lisa claiming that I ruined everything by bringing Peter. According to the friend who stayed, Caden was pretty cold to Lisa for the rest of the night. Lisa is claiming that Caden should be hers and that he doesn't even like me. It's just my cat that he likes. I also had a text from Caden inviting me to coffee. Now I'm stuck and I don't know what to do. I feel bad that there's fighting going on in the group and that it's my fault. 2 friends are on my side and 1 is on Lisa's, but at the same time, Caden is his own person and doesn't owe Lisa anything. I know that I probably technically violated the club policy by bringing Peter, but was it really that wrong? And would it be wrong if I accepted Caden's coffee invite even though Lisa likes him too? Alright folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. I mean, OP was let into the club, and it doesn't seem like she knew that the policy was no cats. It doesn't even necessarily seem like all the employees knew the policy was no cats. And OP left when she was told to, so she didn't cause a scene or anything. And as for whether it would be a jerk move to accept a date with Caden, like, no. I mean, I understand that Lisa also likes him, but like, he clearly doesn't like Lisa and he's his own person. So like OP was saying, like, you can let him make his own decisions.
I mean, it's not like people go to strip clubs to date people anyway, so I'm not really sure why. I think that maybe in the moment she, wanted whatever him to dance for her or something like that. But I wouldn't even really take it too seriously that Lisa was actually like interested in him in that way. I think she just was annoyed that OP was getting more attention.
Yeah, I mean, that could very well be.
So I don't even think OP has anything to worry about in that respect because, I mean, again, like, it's not really generally where I think people go to pick up companions. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Rocky Saki Rocket Ship says everyone's in the wrong. Lisa's terrible for trying to act like she owns Caden, but why would you bring a cat to a strip club? It seems wrong. And OP replies, why? And Rocky Saki Rocket Ship says, because all these randos are getting naked in front of a cat. And OP replies, the guys didn't get fully naked, but also, I don't think that Peter understands the concept of nudity. He's a cat. He's naked all the time, which makes him a perfect addition for the strip club. And rooting for you, 345453 says, not the jerk at all. Lisa sounds bitter. Go have a coffee with Kaden and live your best life. And OP replies, thank you, we're meeting up this weekend and I'm pretty excited. And someone else's problem, 2323 says, will Peter be going as well? And OP replies, yes, actually, there's a local restaurant that loves when I bring Peter. He's basically their unofficial mascot. So that's where we will be going. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she has a joke.
What might you call a springtime court jester?
A springtime court gesture? I would say that they are a very serious individual with serious business.
An April Fool.
An April Fool? Wow. That's right, folks. It's April Fool's today. I bet you thought that those terrible judgments that I made were for real. And I bet you thought that the stories were real too. I'm hoping that I played up my bad judgment enough that people caught on pretty quickly that it was an April Fool's thing.
Yeah, well, I wrote all the stories in the comments, so.
Yes, Amber did. I wrote a story, but it didn't make the cut.
Yeah, I told Brian to put his in. I don't even know what his story is, but yeah. I was like, you don't have to use all three of mine.
Yeah, we'll save it for next year. Save it for next year. And I have a very special guest tea. It's Venus flytrap tea from the remotest swamp that you can travel to.
What a special guest tea.
Yes, it tastes like flies.
And the second story was a little inside joke from a previous episode, so bonus points if you caught that.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, terrific Tuesday, a very pranky Tuesday. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it for some laughs.
Better to drink Venus flytrap tea than to become the Venus flytrap's next meal.
Yes, that's very wise and good advice. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!